There he goes. What do you think, Maverick? Should we let him stay for a month?
Couple years.
Couple of years? We'll pick him up when he's
Gonna
sick.
get married.
I'm cool.
Yeah, go up. Go. Show him the way.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Reasons to Be Happy podcast. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I am the idea catcher himself. Yes, I'm here. And I'm here to blow your mind with an experience not even I can believe I went through. Because, thinking back, I don't think things are this wild anymore at summer camps, And if you can already get my hint, yes, I'm going to be talking about an experience I had at a summer camp when I was, I believe I was like 11 or 12, around there. But, man, it's been a long, long week, and I'm very glad to have you guys here. Let me crack open this beer, get in this session. Let's loosen up a little bit. Every time I get into these, I just feel a little tense, I just want to be more real with you guys. Ugh, woo. Sometimes you just need a little bit of alcohol to loosen up. I don't condone alcohol use. I don't think you need it in order to get things done, but I think sometimes you gotta use it as a tool sometimes, especially when you're not really kind of person that likes to be in front of a camera or a microphone. I mean, I could handle the microphone a lot more easily. I mean, it's different than being in front of the camera. I hate being in front of the camera, and I like being behind the camera recording other people. And I've always been that way. But anyways, let me get a sip of beer. I was right on that age. Those dang birds, man. Dang, that bird is loud. What the hell is going on? That bird is loud. Anyways, I hope you guys could just ignore that bird for me. Try to just use it as a background sound. I also hear cops. I hope everyone's okay. But anyways, yes. Today I want to talk about a crazy experience I had at a summer camp here in Arizona. This was back in the year 2010, and yes, I was around 11 years old. Maybe 12, but I believe I was 11. And I do have notes down so I don't get anything wrong. So if something sounds like it's kind of written out, there are certain parts that are, but other parts aren't. So just so you know, just for reference, I have it out. But I didn't want to write all of it out though, because beforehand, I just wanted to express my memory of it to the best of my knowledge. Oh man, I really hope people are okay right now. I do not like that. Oh, there goes a motorcycle. I can hear everything with this. Let me get another sip in. Anyways, alright, let's get back on track here. I'm getting all distracted by all these different sounds. Anyways, yeah, so I didn't want to write all of it down. And I wanted to express my memory as much as I could, just by memory. Now, of course, I did go through, my memories beforehand and kind of just, wrote down every little kind of bullet point just to get an idea. But I want to branch out just by memory because I think that would be a little bit more fun, A lot more fun when you just kind of come up with it from your memory on the spot. But yeah, this... I just want it to be pure and real as possible, and that's my goal. But anyways, yes, I know. You're still hearing the sounds, I know. And I really hope people are okay. But anyways, so this was the summertime, and my mom loved to put me in camps back in the day. So she, to sum it up short, she put me into a camp, and it was supposed to be like a paintball camp. And this was in the Prescott area. I'm not going to talk about the actual camp I was in. For legal reasons, because it doesn't matter. It was just a camp, and anyways, my mom dropped me off. Yeah, I got all settled into the camp. I remember, I had my sleeping bag, my bag, my other bag. I think I had a sleeping bag, and then my other bag with all my clothes in it. It was a pretty big backpack, I remember, but it, had all my, utensils and not utensils, but all the stuff I need. Like my toothbrush, my deodorant, everything you need. Toothbrush, toothpaste, etc. You get the idea. But yeah, I was walking in, and I remember we were assigned to a certain bunkhouse, and in that bunkhouse we would. Oh, is that a donkey? I think I heard a donkey. A donkey from the distance. But anyways, yes, I arrived. I arrived to the camp. My mom dropped me off. My mom signed all the paperwork that it takes. When you go to a camp, she had to sign all that stuff, all the waivers and everything. Just in case I got hurt. She wouldn't sue. Kind of those kind of paperworks, yes. But anyways, yeah, we got there, and once we were walking in, just from the start, like I felt like it was gonna be a really fun time. It was this big old camp. Everyone had their own bunkhouses, and from the start and the look of it, it looked normal. And then I remember, like I met I think it was like 3 or 4 other people in my bunkhouse, and do not remember their names. I do not remember the names at all. But I could tell you, I'm just gonna phrase them as this one person and this one person as I go through the story, because it's been way too long for me to remember. I might say like it was a boy or a girl or a old lady or a young lady or something like that. But generally, I'm just gonna say it was this person or that person or this other kid or this other kid, etc. Because I don't remember their names. It's been too long. I think we're creeping up here, getting up to the. I think it's almost been. Oh man, I can't remember how many years it's been, but it's been a lot. It's up there, and I think you could do the math on your own. I can't do it because I've been drinking a beer. Anyways, I'm bad at math, but even more bad at math when I'm a little bit buzzed. Let's see here. Anyways, so yeah, I got to meet everyone. Everyone seemed pretty cool. Nothing was off yet. There was one kid from the start, though. I kind of had a sense like, maybe I should keep my distance from this guy. Now, of course, I was younger, and that wasn't as like I didn't trust that feeling in my gut as well as I do today, as an adult. But I really tried to, but I didn't. And I didn't want to judge the guy just from the start. But he was just a little wild and crazy, and maybe he wasn't a bad guy today. In the present moment. I don't know these people anymore, but I can tell you at the time he was definitely from a troubled family, or maybe just him in general. Maybe he was just something a little dark about him. I don't really know. I just know that he had a lot of red flags going for him. First impression, he was just always, he was definitely a pyromaniac. He was the kind of kid always obsessed with blowing shit up, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I love doing that stuff too as a kid, fireworks or whatever. But love doing that stuff for good reasons, not bad reasons. But anyways, yes, for good reasons of having fun, rather than this kid. I think he took a little bit further in that, but he was always just talking about like all the guns he's shot and everything, and there's nothing wrong with that because I'm for the Second Amendment. I love guns and everything, but the way he was talking about it was just, it's hard to explain. But when you meet these kind of people, you'll know, and it's hard for me to explain because I love guns. I own guns, but when it comes to being a kid at his age and how much he would talk about it, like obsessed over it, it was a little strange and it was a little off-putting. Because, like, even when we wanted to talk about other subjects, it would go into, like, this whole rabbit hole of, like, let's talk about guns again, Rather, that's all we wanted to talk about, is just that. And that's what makes it weird. When you're trying to ask him about other things, and he just wants to go straight back into that subject and nothing else. That's what I'm talking about. That's the thing that was weird about it. But, and there was other kind of things about him that was off-putting, like more so like he was just very, I don't know, he was very intimidating, very intimidating. He knew what he was doing. Let me get a sip here. But yeah, psychotic kid. And of course he was assigned to our bunkhouse, and when I say our, there was like 3 other kids, all boys, because the camp was separated by boy and girl, like most camps are. But there was the girl side, and then there was the boy side. And I remember like the front entrance, there was like the sign up building where like you would go in and do all the paperwork. I really don't know what that is. I think that's a cow, but just try to ignore it because it's happening, and it's what happens out here in the ranch. But anyways, yeah. So there was I'm just kind of trying to give you guys a visualization. But anyways, the girl side was kind of like on the very far left when you're coming into the, like, let's say you're driving into it, and it's on the far left side, and then the guy's side was on the far right. And when I say far right, like, you have to walk quite a bit, like not a mile or so, but like maybe like 3 or 4 football fields going each direction. On, if you're gonna go the side of the boys, it's gonna be like 4 football fields, like 400 yards, and then on the girls another maybe like 4 football fields, like on like the left turn when going into the girls side. But in between, like, there was like another that was a lot longer. It's probably about 1,000 yards or so. But yeah, and might be a little bit longer than that, but I'm just kind of eyeballing just by memory and might not be very consistent. But anyways, let's move on with this. Anyways, yeah, so this kid, although the guys in my bunkhouse are really nice, they're cool, we're just talking about different things. I was excited about the events we're supposed to do. I was supposed to paintball the whole time. That was what I was signed up for. And then the place was so disorganized, I actually ended up not even paintballing at all the whole time, which was really weird. Like, I show up and it's like, oh, I was thinking I was going to paintball, and I didn't do it at all the whole time. I think like I was assigned to be in that event every day, but that didn't happen that way. It happened in a lot different way. I remember going around, and the people that are in charge, like our leaders for each bunkhouse, people in charge of us, they just didn't know what they were doing, really, and there was a lot of disorganization. And I remember I was assigned to like all these different events and activities, and they were fun. Like, we went canoeing, we did like basketball and dodgeball, and what else did we do? I remember, there was like this event. Well, not necessarily event. It was like this. It was right where the paintball was supposed to happen, and out there in that area. But I remember I don't know if it was the police. I think it might have been like the local sheriff or something. But they came and they were like teaching us about like gun safety and such. Well, not really gun safety, but I don't really know. Like, just tactical stuff, like different kind of things. Like, it was wild. I don't know, especially as a kid, like sitting there, it's like why are we learning about this stuff? Like, I just want to paintball, because we're in the paintball area, but there's no paintballing going on at all. So I think my mom might have read the ad wrong, or it was just not set up right, or they were just disorganized and it never happened. I don't know. Anyways, going back to the psychotic kid, throughout the first, because I remember that the camp was like I think it might have been like a week long. It might have been a little bit less, like 4 days. I think it was like a week long, though. I can't really fully remember. Pretty sure it was, though. It was like 4 days. But yeah, I remember he just progressively got weirder. And people were kind of like teasing him eventually, because they were not teasing him, just like telling him, just like, shut up. Like, we don't need to be talking about this right now. We already talked about it like 5 times, I mean, like that, like, he's just always on the topic of guns, like, just like never getting off of it, just always on that topic. and it was just a little strange because he wouldn't talk about anything else. That was the weird thing. He just wouldn't talk about anything else. Nothing. Just that. That's what made it weird. All right. Anyways, yeah. So psychotic kid, and it didn't end there. So I remember the second or third night. Things started getting kind of roughened up in our bunkhouse. After we took showers in the shared, because we had shared showers. I remember where it was like a little bathroom place, and we would walk out there at the end of the day and clean up. And I just remember like everyone was just screaming at him in the bathroom because he was just doing some weird shit. I don't remember all the things that happened at that point because it's kind of hard. It's kind of faded at this point. Just know like the general idea of certain events, but yeah, I just know that he was not getting along with the people in our bunkhouse. He was not getting along with me either. He was kind of taking me off because he was doing some weird things, but I was kind of staying quiet about it because that's how I was. I was just observer and be smart about the things I would do next at that age. But yeah, it was wild. But anyways, I remember we were sleeping, and this one particular kid did not get along with him at all. Like, it was really bad, and he was in our bunkhouse as well. And the kid was sleeping underneath his bunk, like, because there was bunk beds inside, and there was I remember, one sec. I remember I was sleeping kind of like horizontal to them, and they were kind of like if you look at the bunkhouse from the front, they were like vertical to the front door, like their beds were vertical, and then our beds were horizontal, kind of tucked away more to the far right. But anyways, yeah, the kid was underneath his bed, and just this was a little weird. But it's not weird, but when we continue here. But the guy was sleeping under the bed, right? And he was on top bunk. And the kid was just saying shit to him at night. I don't know what it was. They were just fighting the whole day. And they were just done with each other, And I remember he just started kicking the guy's top bunk. Like his feet. He was putting his feet up and he was just kicking the top. Like the springs underneath that kind of pushes back. And like he was getting pissed off, and he was telling, and he was like, I'm gonna go tell one of the leaders that you're freaking doing this. I can't sleep. I really need sleep. He was just making, drama out of nothing. Like he could have just stopped, and we were all telling him to stop, but he wasn't listening. And so eventually, yeah, I think let me remember 1 second. So I think after he was doing that, like, he didn't stop, and then eventually he did one last really hard kick, and like hard enough to like really hurt his back, and the kid started crying, like he was bawling, right? And then the freaking other kid, because there was another kid underneath my bunk, because I was on the top bunk on the far right, horizontal to the front door, and he underneath, he went up to the kid and he was like, don't do that, and he started like going after him like he was gonna fight him, like don't mess with, because he was really good friends with the guy on that top bunk. And he like goes over and like basically tackles the dude, throws him on the ground, and then at that point the kid pulls out a pocket knife and then like puts it up to his neck like he was gonna his throat, dude. Like, I remember this vividly, and I was like, what the hell is going on? What the is going on? And then like he was like,
I'll do it. I'll freaking do it. I'm not kidding around. I'll do it. I was trained really good by my dad.
I remember like
I know how to do it.
I just like remember vividly him saying that. It was really crazy. And I remember like telling him like, calm down, we'll get this resolved, like calm down. I remember that. And he just was not calming down. And then I remember eventually, like, because people were screaming, like, because there was, I think there was like one other guy, and he was like screaming for help outside. I think he ran outside the door and then got help from the leader. And then that kid disappeared. I think he was kicked out of the camp that night after that happened, because it was, dude, Because I remember the things were building up. Like, I didn't really go into too much detail, but I remember it was building up. Like, within the first 3 days, it was really building up, and something wasn't right. And the kid was showing really weird signs, like saying weird things on the, off his breath, and like just giving us really weird vibes. Like vibes, like stay away from this guy. Like something's not right about him. He has issues, anger issues, or whatever. And I know I said like him talking about like guns obsessively. It was weird, but that wasn't the only thing. Like he showed other signs, like through his body and such. Body language is very strong when it comes to that, and there was just something off about this dude. Like I was just glad that he got kicked out, because when the leader came in, he came in and the guy put his pocket knife away. I think he tried to hide it, and then no, he got taken away, and yeah, there was a whole shabacle with that. I remember we stayed in the bunkhouse, but it ended up just being me. It was like me and then like one other guy left, and like 3 of the people like were not, like I think 3 of the kids got kicked out because it was just 2 other guys. It was just me and one other guy after, and it kind of made it sad after because it was like no one really hang out with in our bunk. I think we might have moved to a different bunk, but I can't really fully remember. I'm pretty sure we might have, but I don't know. I don't think so because there was only a few days left at that point. But yeah, that was crazy, dude. Like even as a kid, like this stuff happens, and you try to tell your parents, and at the time when you're a kid, your parents just think, oh, just a wild like imagination, like he's just making this up because it's funny or whatever. Like parents just, I just don't think they want to fully accept it because they don't want to feel bad for like putting their kid in such a situation. But it wasn't them putting them in that. I'm not blaming my parents for that because that's dumb. But I'm saying like they don't want to feel guilty for that because they will. But they don't need to because that's just life. Life happens. But anyways, let's see here. Anyways, yeah. So during the first few days, there was also another questionable kid, and this person was making a taser, like a homemade taser out of a disposable camera. And this kid was like a tech geek kind of guy. He was really smart. He knew how to like make things out of electronics, and he understood about all that crazy stuff that as a kid I did not understand. Maybe as an adult I kind of understand more, but back then I didn't understand that stuff at all, and it was just wild that he was doing that. But anyway, I thought that was really cool. And the first impression of the guy, he was cool, he was nice at first, and then we'll come back to him, but yeah, that's just kind of foreshadowing something. But anyways, so yeah, the camp was super disorganized, and we had all these different activities. I remember that same kid that made the taser out of the disposable camera. He was on my canoe because I ended up going canoeing. And of course, when I was going canoeing, I was really mad the whole time because I was like, I just want to paintball. Like why are we not paintballing right now? Because I was big into paintball at that age. I loved it, and did it with my family growing up. So I was really pumped for it. I was just really wanting to do something for the summer, and ended up not doing it. But in hindsight, it was still fun, the things we did. But the canoeing, yeah, it was fun. It was on that big lake in Prescott. Lynx Lake, or one of the lakes there, and yeah, we were canoeing on there, and I remember that kid was in the canoe with me, and I think I might have pissed him off somehow, and as you can imagine, it kind of started leading into things, but I don't know what happened. I think he almost fell off the canoe or something. Now looking back, I think he did almost fall off, and I think he tried to blame it on me for somehow. I don't know, dude. Kids are weird. They just try to blame each other for things, especially my generation. There was just like a big thing, like people just blame you for their failures or such. It was very toxic. I might not just be my generation, might just be a kid thing, I don't know. But anyways, yeah. But I remember getting scolded for how badly disorganized their organization was. Like, they were so disorganized, guys. And when I mean that, like, just so disorganized. People, like, the leaders were really mean. Not all of them, but majority of them were. They didn't want to listen to people's worries or anything. They just said, tell you, just go back. You know, just, like, really treat you with, like, a really mean tone. Not a very inviting tone. Damn, someone's going ham on those horns. Someone's going ham on it right now. Shit's wild. Okay. Anyways, yeah, so I just thought it was really rude, like, the way they were handling it for, especially the kids. Like, you know, you don't scold someone. Because apparently I was in the wrong place multiple times. But I was a kid, and I should have been shown what group to go, where to go. I didn't know where to go at all the whole time. And that's not my fault. I was a kid. All right. So get yourself together. Help me figure out where I'm going to go, and I'll go there. But you guys didn't do that at all. So I just had to figure out myself. And of course, it was the wrong place. They told me, like, they would tell me my name. Like, they would ask for my name, and they'd say, oh, yeah, you're supposed to be here. And then once I would get there, they were like, oh, like, once, like, I got into the bus and went to that certain area, I would get there, and they'd be like, oh, you're not actually supposed to be in this group. And I was like, what do you mean? You guys literally told me I was supposed to be here. So, like, you guys are going back and forth too much on this. I was really making me mad, I remember. But, it was wild. But I remember, after that canoe ride, this was, like, the first day, got back, and I remember it was a pretty chill day after that, you know. Like, this was before things got really, really bad with that psychotic kid. But moving forward, like, near the middle of the trip, we went on a hike. I remember, like, the hike was, like, near the camp, but this was in Prescott, Arizona, so. But we were walking, and it was a very bouldery trail, like, really giant, like, you know, like those giant boulders you could climb on. I'll give you an example, you know, like the boulders, if you ever go to Mount Eldon, it's those giant, big old limestone boulders. Limestone or sandstone, I don't know which one. I believe it's one of the two, but you know what I mean. Yeah, there was a lot of that, and I remember this was something that, you know, I'll take ownership for, but we left the hiking group. Like, if a couple kids and I, we left the hiking group and then cut off trail, and we wanted to do some more things that were fun because the regular hike was kind of boring. So we left the group, and then we were climbing on some boulders. And I remember when I was climbing on this one boulder, there was kind of like a little dip in, like a cave, and that's why I wanted to go up on there. And when I go in, I put my first hand up, and I was grabbing up, and I heard a kind of like a rattle, but it was very, very quiet. It was like muffled. I was like, oh, I didn't think of any of it. But I kept on going, and you know, I was turning around. I was looking down the whole time, which is very bad to do when you're climbing, because you really should be looking up where you're climbing at. But I was climbing, and I was feeling for another rock up there to kind of pull myself up, and I ended up grabbing, like, it was like this stick, right? And I'm glad it was a stick and not something else, you'll know here in a second. But I grabbed the stick, and the stick fell off the ground, like I was trying to pull up, and because I thought it was like the edge of a rock, but it wasn't, and it moved, of course. So that didn't work. So I kept on pushing myself up, and then I got myself to a good place. And then I turned my head up eventually, and then I saw there was a rattlesnake, and I can't remember what kind of rattlesnake it was. I think it might have just been a Mojave rattlesnake at the time, but it was fucking pissed, and it was rattling as soon as I got up there, and I got so startled I fell down and like nearly twisted my ankle. I definitely twisted it, but it was a very minor twist. But everyone was like the two other guys I was with, they were like, oh shit, let's get out of here, because they were like scared, you know, we're all kids, and I was limping, and I remember the kids didn't want to get caught, because we had just enough time to kind of do what we wanted and meet up with the group. That's what our plan was, but they didn't want to get in trouble, so I ended up just walking myself, because I had kind of a limp after that fall. It wasn't like a high fall, by the way. It was like maybe like 5 feet max. But I was smaller back then, a lot lighter. I know at the time I was overweight, but even then, I was just younger and I was able to endure falls like that a lot easier back then. But yeah, nowadays I fall like that and I'll break my ankle. No, legit. Like, I actually twisted my ankle the day of my wedding party, and that was barely even, maybe even, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches down, like drop. But it was just the way I stepped it, twisted it. But anyways, going back to the story, yeah, so I fell off that boulder, basically twisted my ankle because trying to get away from the rattlesnake, and glad I didn't get bit by the rattlesnake, but that wasn't good. But I remember on the walk back, I remember running to the nurse, and I was telling the nurse, like, oh, yeah, I fell, I need some ice on my ankle, and I was getting ice, and I was talking to the nurse, and she was like, oh, yeah, you really need to keep your hands washed. We're having a lot of kids coming sick within the last 5 hours. Something's going around, and it turned out people were getting food poisoning. And she hinted E. coli, She said she didn't say it for sure, but she said it could be E. coli, I don't know. But she thinks it was in the water. So we ended up not being able to, because there was like a little spring we could drink from there that was supposed to be like pretty pure water from the mountains, But she was worried that it was in the water and it was making us sick and not the food. So she said, don't drink the spring water. And then we ended up just like drinking bottled water for the last half of the trip, I remember. Yeah, so that was bad. But there was this whole bunch of kids in there like throwing up. And I remember seeing them just like sick to their stomachs, and they just had to get taken home. That was pretty wild. But yeah, I got some ice on it. Felt pretty good after they gave me some Advil, and I felt a lot better. And then that same night, dude, like it kind of foreshadowed another thing but that same night, this kid, while we were eating dinner, because there was dinners and lunches and breakfasts in the same hall where everyone eats, like a cafeteria area, and the kid was eating like spaghetti and meatballs, I remember, and oh god, this ruined spaghetti and meatballs for me for the longest time. Not anymore, I got past it at this age, but I remember he ate all the spaghetti and meatballs really fast. And it might have just been because he ate it really fast. It might not have been because he was sick, but I think he was sick because after this happened, I didn't see him again. So, anyways, he ate it, and then he was just sitting there, kind of stopped talking to everyone, just kind of looking down at the ground. And I asked him,
Dude, are you okay?
and he was like,
I'm not feeling too good.
and I was like,
Are you sure? Like, what do you mean?
and then all of a sudden he opens his mouth and just projectile vomits everywhere. It was getting on everyone, and there was like this girl sitting across him, and it just went all over her. And then he almost got, I think a little bit got on me, but it was just on my shirt, and I just wiped it off. But it was so gross, dude. And it smelled like SpaghettiOs, and it was like reeking like the whole cafeteria. Everyone like was screaming like, "Oh, what the like literally like freaking out, like, what is happening?" Like, I remember just like sitting there like, what is this? Like in the middle of the trip, guys, I was thinking like, how can this trip be not a nightmare? Because it was literally like one of the biggest, I don't know what you'd call it, clown circuses I've ever been in. Because things were not going well so far. That might have been the worst camp I've ever been to in my life. As much as, on hindsight, it's funny looking back. It's funny because it's like, what the heck is this? This memory is insane. But, like, it's just crazy because, like, I don't know if they even have summer camps like this anymore. Yeah, I bet there are. I bet there's some weird stuff still going on. But, like, it was just, did not feel like a camp that kids should be going through. Anyways, yeah. That whole thing happened. And not to say that you can control a kid from projectile vomiting. That's what I was saying. But just a lot of weird shit, like lot of weird shit happening all in this one camp. Like, stuff that shouldn't happen. But nearing the end of the camp, like remembering there was like a party night, like a dance party night kind of thing. A lot of cool activities, everyone had fun. I remember they had like the chair, you know, like oh man, what is it? You know, like throw the apple and then the guy you throw the apple at the target and then the guy falls into the big old water pool kind of thing. Like he's on a chair and then like he'll fall into the pool if you hit the right target. Yeah, it was one of those set up. That was pretty fun. And you just keep throwing the apples and trying to hit him. Not him, but hit the target so he goes into the pool and falls in and gets wet. But that was fun. And you know, we did the egg on a spoon. Kind of keep the egg on the spoon while you're running down. Did like the pillowcase runs where you put the pillowcase on your feet and try to run. Like you just hobble across the dirt to the other end and back. We had a whole bunch of activities like that, and of course, you know, like the camp songs. You know, we're all singing the camp songs. That we did that every night. That's I remember we would just sing camp songs. I thought that was like kind of the coolest part of the camp. I liked all the normal parts. You know, I liked. It wasn't all just a bad camp, but there was a lot of things that shouldn't have happened. But it was that's life. But anyways, during that party night, you know, the dance party night, there was a few kids that got busted in the bathrooms, and that was pretty wild because I know there were older kids, but I think like the max age was like probably like 14, 15, so that was a little weird. But I remember it happening, and two of those kids got like kicked out of the camp that night, and that was fun to see because everyone was like, "What the hell?" And everyone got kind of sent back to their bunkhouse after that. Like everyone got in trouble for it, even though it wasn't even our faults. Like we didn't do that, but that's how it goes. But the last day, I remember I was just drained by the end of it. Like I was just sitting there and just hoping that the hours would take sooner because I just wanted to get home and probably at the time play Call of Duty because I was a Call of Duty like addict at that age. But I was just talking to everyone. I did meet some cool friends at the bunkhouse and at the time didn't have a phone or anything, so I never got their numbers and kept track with them. But maybe they'll come across this video and remember who I am. Maybe they'll be like, "Oh shit, I remember you." But that'd be really funny. I'd really doubt it though. But it was a wild experience, guys. It really was. But remember when I foreshadowed that kid with the guy that knew how to make tasers? Yeah, that kid at the last day, he was like searching for me, and everyone was saying, "Hey, this kid, remember like that one kid that you met?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, they're like,
Yeah, he's looking for you. He said he needs to talk to you.
And I was like, "What do you mean? He needs to talk to me?" I was like, it's just really weird, like, just get addressed like someone needs to talk to you before, someone you don't really fully know, like, saying that, like, just come up to me and talk to me. You don't need to have someone else tell me. But, yeah, let's just say this guy had a homemade taser. But he was really good at hiding it. And he was a lot older, he was probably like 14. And I remember he came up and he was like,
"Hey dude, remember what I was working on?" "Yeah, I got it to work."
And he came up and he gave me the freaking zap, dude, and it shit really, really hurt. It was so painful. Like, I mean, when I say painful, like when you get zapped when, let's say you get zapped on the, by one of those old, like those things that people would prank you with, like the little, electric pens where, you try to pull the pen and it zaps you, or the gum, like the fake gum dispenser, but you pull it and it zaps you. Think of it like that, but like 10 times worse. But it like actually hurts, and it kind of burns your skin a little bit. Yeah, it did that and it burned my skin. Anyways, this kid kept on zapping me and told him to stop, So, but anyways, I tried to keep my distance. The last few hours I was there, I was like, stay away from me. And he kept running after me, right? And then, it was just, doing the good old classic bullying because he was older and he thought it was funny. But, hindsight's kind of funny now, but back at the time it was not funny. I just wanted to get out of there. But anyways, yeah, that was like basically the last weird thing that happened. But yeah, I was just chasing around, giving me a zap and laughing with the other guy. Thought it was funny. And it's so funny to torture the younger dude. I don't know. It's definitely weird. Definitely not normal. I wouldn't do that if I was older and do that to a little kid. It's just messed up. But I don't know. Maybe he was just trying to do it to be funny, but it's not really funny. That's my childhood, though. Basically, I went through a lot of weird things like this, guys. I have a lot of different stories I could share with you, and I just want you guys to let me know if you want me to share those stories with you. There are other stories I decide not to share with you, like I just decided, like what I discussed in the last video. But I was finish up the story here. But anyways, I remember my mom pulling up in her car, and there was a smile on my face. I wanted to get the hell out of there, but at the same time, I remember at the age I was like mad at my mom. I was like, "Why'd you take me to this freaking terrible camp?" I was like just disappointed. I was like, "Why? Why'd you take me here? Like what the hell?" But hindsight, she didn't have any idea. It was just disorganized, and there would be some crazy kids there. She didn't know. And when a parent wants to take you to a cool camp, she's expecting that the people there are going to be watching over the kids and making sure they're not doing crazy things. But obviously they failed at their jobs, and there was a lot of bad things happening during the whole trip, during the whole camp. But there was some good, and I have the memory now of this whole event, and it was fun. And I wouldn't be able to make this podcast about it. I almost what is it, 14 years now. It's been 14 years. That's wild. 14 years ago, and like I wouldn't be able to make this podcast 14 years later about it. Like, that's just something special about that, and it makes a great story. And I just wanted to share it with you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed as much as I could remember. I didn't want to fake anything about it because that's lame. I want to keep everything real here. But yeah, my mom picked me up. We had a long car drive home. But once we got back to Flagstaff, Arizona, I still was alive, and I still was happy. And that's why I want to reflect it back to the Reasons to Be Happy podcast. Is that even though I went through that crazy wild experience in that crazy camp, I still was able to pull through and be happy about my life. And that is why I wanted to make this episode. And that's why I want to share stories and reflect it to being happy, because it's really important to keep yourself busy and to keep yourself in a good mental place, because that is what life is about. And it's about keeping yourself motivated and focused, and to remember the stuff we go through is what makes us the people we are today. We will always grow, and we will always thrive when we go through experiences. When we don't go through experiences, we'll be stuck in the same place we started at. God bless you guys, and I hope you guys tune into the next episode. I love when I'm in this mindset, because I'm able to express great memories with you guys and great times. Maybe not so much great memories, but wild ones and very crazy ones. But I think you guys were pretty entertained by this. I think I definitely would be. In hindsight, looking from someone else's perspective, it's a pretty wild one. Anyways, guys, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Love you guys.